let's just do this thing for fun. I was just scrolling through. As you guys know, I'm like a big high school, I guess, yeah, geopolitic fan, right? I was just scrolling through reading about student council scandals, and I was reading about this kid in high school, just like 5 years ago, back in not New York, California, and he literally hacked his fellow students' Gmail accounts, 500 of them, to vote for himself and his vice president, which is crazy. Like, come on! And of course, they found it because there was a mysterious spike in the middle of the night, and also they found his IP address, and also, like, they were all voting alphabetically. That was crazy. But there wasn't that much information on the story. He kind of just like used the school's default passwords to log into their accounts and get in, and like that was that would have been very easy to do. Like, I was worried about that happening to me in my own election back in 22. Actually, I wasn't worried about that happening in terms of elections. I was worried about it happening in terms of anything, because the school didn't tell us we could change our default passwords. I had to figure it out on my own. So yeah. Anyway, there's a mysterious spike in the middle of the night. Did some data analysis on it, and they caught him and busted him for it. But I wanted to tell you about this election at a school, Georgetown, I think. It's near Washington, D.C. It's a not high school. It's a college, and as I was fighting off, as you guys know from the SLTW series, as I was fighting off random kids in 22, they were fighting off election corruption and buy-offs and a bunch of idiots and some guy named Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars running the election and a Instagram thing. So I found an important, it looks important, newspaper article, and I found a Reddit article about this. I think I'm going to read the Reddit and maybe some clips from the newspaper just to give some information. All right, here we go. All right. Yeah, so the school is acronymed GUSA. It stands for Georgetown University Student Association. All right. All right. So according to this, GUSA is the student government of GUSA, and apparently a year before they were so incompetent that they couldn't outlaw themselves. That's right. They were so incompetent that they could keep their jobs. They tried to hold a referendum to basically abolish or defund the school government and replace it with a new one. But so few people cared about the election, they didn't get enough votes to outlaw themselves, which is crazy. Like, shouldn't they be able to outlaw themselves whenever they want? Like, they actually needed votes to outlaw themselves, and they couldn't get the votes. All right, so it says most of our campuses ignore GUSA. They're wrapped up in their own drama and self-importance, but no one cares about them. All right, but the school, I guess, is very prestigious and elite. I think one of the presidents went there, Clinton. He actually lost the election, which is kind of funny. Like, imagine being able to tell your friends that you beat the president of the United States in an election. He lost a student council election. But they have some power, but not all of it. Right. The main direct power lies in controlling the Student Activities Fund, which is apparently $1.4 million, which I don't know about you, but if I control $1.4 million, I would think that's important. And I would care about the people controlling $1.4 million, especially if they're a bunch of 20-year-olds. I would show up to every election. I would come to all the press conferences. And they do have like newspaper articles about them. Like, look, they got the Washingtonian, I think the Georgetown Townian Times wrote about them, which is a school newspaper, which makes sense, I guess it's, yeah, but this would have been, I mean, could you imagine? Actually, no. Actually, this would never happen if something like this happened at my school. The news wouldn't have reported on it because when elections happened, there was no news. So when I got voted in, then there was news. But let's say, I guess, somehow they spin off the news into a separate thing. Because everyone knows the most communist thing I've ever done was literally create a state-funded news. Well, not funded. We didn't make money or lose money. A state-run news agency. Like, yes, I know. That's basically communist. But it's not that make it. So if we just run out the if we, let's say they hypothetically spun out the news into its own entity, right, and they did their own thing, then yeah, they would report on this because this is crazy. This is a really long post. I mean, like, we're up here, we're still talking about the what is GUSA. All right, so there's a brief description of politics on comedy. Georgetown has a reputation of being very liberal. I'm not sure if they mean like actual politics or like school politics. But it's not the whole picture. Explaining it could be a whole picture of its own, but for simplicity, people have a strange mix of social values, domestic policy, economic practice. Okay, so real politics, foreign policy. So that's interesting. In terms of things, but I don't really get how this has to do with the election until they get to the part where these bunch of random kids are accused of being funded by TPUSA, which is crazy. Like, imagine just have this random group of outside group funding your election, which apparently can only spend $500. But this crazy the story gets even crazier. All right, the election first started off with the election started pretty normal. There's 6 kids, which are called L and K, President VP running. They had worked at the previous administration. They were regarded as the favorites, but they gave, pretty vanilla campaign promises that they couldn't finish. Every typical audio drama election slogan, right? They were trying to be popular. They had terrible slogans or whatever. So it's just, your typical election, terrible slogans, but, they're kind of popular, so they're going to win. And then you got the second people, boom, 2 frat bros with 0 experience in GSA. So, just some outsider coming in here, which is fine. But I guess it's in 21. The very limited campaign promises included getting rid of the mask mandate, which, okay, I think this is in 2021. Redirecting all funding away from SNAPs, group task for funding underage drinking on campus, which, I mean, another thing you guys have to know about school politics is that trying to impress the administration with your policies that you're going to bring is a terrible idea. Because, at least in high school politics, what the students want and what the administration want are totally different things, right? In 2022, I did not run on Christianity because I wanted to. Everyone knows that's a terrible platform to run on. Like, just as a platform, just by itself. I didn't run on, hey, guys, let's change all the curriculum in the books to creationist. No, we didn't run on that because we wanted to. We ran on that because for 26 minutes we were press conference into doing that, right? In 2023 election, I did not run on, hey guys, let's post the 10 commandments in every room and like change the dress code and like stuff that the administrators would elect. No, that's silly because the administrators cannot vote for you at all, right? So running on stuff that kids don't care about, you're gonna lose. So when you run on something, right? If you were to run on, say, like Christian values, right, and that alone, I'm sorry, you're gonna lose, right? Because the administrators cannot vote for you, right? Now, if the administrators can vote for you, let's say the administrators at 25% of the vote, then yeah, run on that all the way through, right? The strategy is to run on something normal, give out cookies and food, and I run on something normal. Let's just bring change to the school, and then push those in once you're in office, because it's unlikely that you're going to get impeached unless, of course, you change the rules for a specific position to get your brother elected, like some guy did at Texas A&M. Like, come on, that is insane. All right, so it actually kind of makes sense to do something to perform something that you can't do, to like stop the investigating drinking on campus, which lots of kids would probably want to do that for some dumb reason. But yeah, that's probably a decent campaign promise for the kids. It's terrible for the administration. Of course, they get shut that down. And I guess if you want to know more about election strategy, you can get into that in another podcast episode. Right. Now, to be fair, I actually thought about creating something like that, like a hall monitor thing for that. We in a hypothetical 23 election that didn't happen at another school. And I was thinking about creating like a hall monitor program that didn't happen for the safety of the school. Then we like kind of test ran it on ChatGPT and on NTB, and they were like, "Do you really want a secret police? That's communist." And I was like, "Okay," but I was smart enough not to go like, "Hi guys, I'm running for the student council here, and I am planning on adding new hall monitors and catching all of you in your secret fight club and your drug dealing operations. God bless you." I would have gotten one vote and it would have been mine. Anyway, so yeah, getting rid of the mask mandate. I don't know. I wasn't at the school, so I don't know how popular it would have been. And then getting rid of underage drinking investigatory agency. I mean, you can't do it, but it is actually a pretty decent platform. Not well, actually something vote buying thing. So Woom ran. They didn't care. The GUSA, they're just kind of like riding. What is it? Right. So apparently L and K, the GUSA like elite, had accidentally sent out an official email using the Superior's account. Stole credit from other students, and then they sent out an apology. And then another scandal happened was that some party at a nightclub happened that was allegedly paid for by the WIM campaign, because a picture with the neon sign and name campaign had gone out from an anonymous source. Which, remember this, guys, do not, if you're doing something illegal, don't post pictures of it, okay? And don't have your Snap Map turned on. Second, this basically is like a thing called Wafflegate that happened at a school. I wasn't there, but I heard about it. They overpaid their expenses. They could only pay $200. At minimum, the nightclub cost $500. Plus the alcohol was illegal at any school-sponsored event, and also providing any kind of offering to voters that could influence or bribe them was strictly prohibited, which is interesting because that means candy bribes and cookie bribes and cake bribes don't work. Which means high school politics 101 just failed, which is give them lots of food. Apparently, I abstained from that, and you see the results of that. So on February 4th, we made the official response. They denied connection to the party, the election commission of bias, and also they compared the situation to voter suppression in America, which is an interesting strategy, to say the least. All right, the third entry in the campaign was Empress Sheev. I don't know if that's a woman or a man. Palpatine, and I've heard of this guy from over at NTB, and they talk about him as being evil and compare him to like legitimate people. I think he's like some fat guy or something like that. I don't know. That's not a fake name. The anonymous student started an Instagram account with this message here, who basically said he's going to control the school. He said that all club funding would be immediately rerouted to the Death Star. Don't know what that is. I think it's some plane and stuff like that. Campus police would be eliminated and released for the army of stormtroopers, which, yeah. And the I'm probably more for him to be revoked because I'm a Sith, but even I think that's something that's too evil. Also, imagine the scandals from two things. He poked fun at L and K, and also poked fun at Womb. Was saying the election committee had anti-Sith bias. And he also claimed the university president as an evil person. All right, so then a fourth person comes in here, which is why I say that at least for elections like this, y'all need political parties. I actually devised my own system here. It would be the wideband and narrow bands. Basically, wideband would be basically they raise the money and dedicate to dedicated to the entire school, and narrow band would just be something like a key focus on one thing. So like let's say you're in high school, you need a dance, you want to dance, right? Or the narrow band party would use all campaign fundraisers and all campaign time to focus on getting one dance, but they're not going to focus on, say, a scavenger hunt or an Easter egg hunt or adding new video projectors to the screen, right? Like they focus on one thing, right? And then say wideband we focus on the other thing. So maybe a wideband dance might be like $200. It's at the school. You know, have like limited decorations and music, but wideband's also able to put out, say, you know, maybe have a new projector for a room. Maybe put on a special party for someone else. Maybe have a bigger event somewhere else as well, like an Easter egg hunt or laser tag day. And narrow band would be like the grandest dancers of all time, right? Then you just vote accordingly, right? If you had to hit this at GUSA, I'm not saying that you need wideband and narrowband. I'm saying that they need their own political parties that united under something. Maybe can have like a few independent candidates, right? But maybe you can have the GUSA party and the GUSSR party. I don't know, but you have these different parties, and then you can all have like everyone who wants to run come in here. What do they call it? What are those things called? Have your convention, have a nominee, get nominated, have primaries, whatever, and you got maybe 2 or 3 people running, like an actual election, but not like random people like this. All right, so here we go. MO into the race. All these people of all the controversy coming in, of course, they have their own press, which is a good thing, right? MO comes in. So both of them had some experience on the USA. They worked on some clubs and advocacy groups on campus. They offered a middle ground, except there wasn't really a middle ground. Okay, so they had some vague promises, which were awful. You can read them here, and they would have gotten canceled by me from the foods. Like, really, what is this? We're not going to read that on here. There was one problem. Well, the MO hadn't filled out the proper paperwork, and they tried to get appealed. And they tried to have a vote to see if they could have a vote on another vote and some tearful speeches, and they got kicked out about it, which is kind of crazy. They did not fill out their paperwork to become an official campaign, and they failed, which is funny. So they had a Zoom debate. Remember, this is over COVID. I think it's in 2021, but I guess a real debate. I guess we're in space something. Okay, so LK, which is the preemptive nominees, the USA Elite Bland White Bread, which is crazy. That's what they compare them to. It's pretty much on brand, nothing special, vague answer to every question an experienced politician gives. Man, I long for the days of that. Actually giving answers to vague questions and not having to delve into the intricacies of the intricacies of creationism versus evolution in school textbooks in Texas as a school policy position. What? Like, how is that a campaign position? Oh my gosh. And womb. So the election commission gives them a punishment so they have less questions, which is probably a good thing because they were terrible at debating. They just agreed with their opponent or just sat in silence for 90 seconds and then promised to tear up every vote on campus and only allowing bikes. Then the emperor, he wasn't allowed to speak, so he just like spammed the chat. And then MO also spammed the chat, answers question in chat. All right, so Womb denied press, right, to interview them. They had no interest in reaching out to the advocacy groups on campus, which, like, what advocacy groups are? Hey guys, it's the Girls United. How are you gonna fund us? Like, what? And they rested the entire campaign on almost the end of mask mandate on campus. And there were still serious concerns about COVID on campus, especially with immunocompromised students, concerns that Bloom public refused to address, which is crazy. Like, imagine running a college campaign on we need to end the mask mandate, which apparently, according to like the newspaper and not the Reddit post, they couldn't even do. Like, that was an administrative decision. They couldn't change if they wanted to. Also, they pointed out how little campaigning they had done, no flyers, no interviews, which I guess they can pivot to the "we're green, we don't need flyers" campaign thing. The problem is GUSA uses ranked choice voting, and the voter turnout tends to be low, so you can swing the vote there. There's apparently accusations of election tampering and bribery. All right, the accusation was made worse when a student journalist had been impersonated by someone else. Oh, this election is crazy. You got the journalist getting hacked. By Womb. Wait, I'm confused. False claims against Womb, then publicly countered them and discredit their criticism. Oh yeah, so they're gonna make the journalists look bad. Womb is crazy. Like, they had their own little super PAC going here. If they had some organization here, they could be elite election interviewers. But they're just so bad at hacking and having illegal events that they're just it's over for them. I don't even know if they're still allowed to run. Like if this happened at my school, and like there's this thing called Wafflegate, right? The kid was basically making waffles. He wasn't an official candidate, so he overspent the limit. Only official candidates can only spend $50. Regular candidates can only spend $1. So he overspent the limit. He broke the handbook violations by using an electric heating thing. You can't bring that to school. All right, so like, yeah, and he also lied to a teacher. So on top of all this, he broke school rules, election rules for regular candidates and writing candidates. Apparently, yeah, he got thrown out. Like these people should be thrown out. Election tampering. Well, I guess there was no proof of the illegal bar thing. Hacking the journalists. Like what is this? All right. Anyway, so they have to debate Georgetown Voice. Yeah, Georgetown Voice. Yeah, that's the name of that thing. Editorial release. Write-in MO for GUSA exec. Republican Voice to is the best and the only option. Which I mean, they had some policy positions that I mean, at least there are positions. They're bad positions, but they're at least able to, write them out. They destroyed LK and called Womb unserious and actively unsafe for students. I wouldn't call them actively unsafe because like they wouldn't be able to ban them ask mandate anyway, and they also wouldn't do anything at all. Like they would have run out of money. All right, then Palatine Instagram account went on a rant. He was tired of GUSA. The campaign started a joke. GUSA did very little, but willed significant power, especially over the budget. So he just started yelling. So he said a vote for him just wasn't a joke. It was a statement to GUSA that they were going to take. And then there was a whole bunch of side campaigns running around. And then they had a vice presidential debate. LK was bland. Womb was unprepared. Mo was stuck in the chat. Private Time promised to show up in a black robe. And but no one saw him. So then election day comes. Mo push people to share the rules on write-ins if they have a chance to win. The election software, they were scared that the election software wasn't going to work, which would have been pretty funny if the voting machines crashed. That would have been hilarious. The election came around, people cast their ballots, and Womb won. The most incompetent people of all time literally won. And the thing is, they won on less votes. And the school doesn't even have an electoral college, big grades, which would have been, fun. But they lost because of ranked choice voting. So LK got eliminated, and then people voted for them ranked Womb second, leaving the tally 759 to 793. And it just filtered in randomly. So they wanted to change the election procedure, but unfortunately for them, Womb had won. They investigated the election because fraud, bribery, typical election stuff. And they investigated and it said a member of the Womb campaign paid for the nightclub candidate, but none of the candidates. So they basically circumvented election rules by having their own super PAC. By technicality, they claimed to be uninvolved, and there was no evidence to prove anything. I mean, these Womb guys are evil geniuses. The election committee stated that the election was valid, so I guess they elected the certified the election. Apparently, in some schools, the school senate certifies elections, which is crazy. The election commission certified the election was valid. They were not overturned the results. They also pointed that Womb refused to cooperate with them, which is funny. And one of the senators resigned, saying that she didn't want to deal with this drama, and left her post as a GUSA representative. LK and Mo accepted a loss, and the GUSA election committee, election commission was being paid for their work, which is nice. I missed a thing. Oh yes, the Womb candidates apparently rumors trickled in saying that Turning Point USA, TPUSA, allegedly secretly funds student government candidates. I don't believe that, but if they do, okay, how on earth are you gonna fund a campaign if they don't make money? Like, I just gonna give them free posters or something? But their campaign was so incompetent. I don't believe that they did that. All right, if you guys want to hear more about this election, there's a link here. You can see the You can see some of the Instagram posts. And we got 5 people here. You got some of the Instagram posts here. Let's see what they have in here. Yeah. So if you guys want to check this out, you can, start reading about that. Now let's go over to Ava Harper.